Hi, welcome back to Telesports. For anyone out there, we're a small YouTube channel. We talk about sports, multi skills. We talk about life in general, healthy living, eating healthy, exercise, S&C like strength and conditioning. We talk about everything that's going on in the world. Also, we would like to experience, obviously, you know, share all the experiences that we've picked up along the way. Today we've got myself, Ryan, and my brother Sergio, all the way in Namibia. Please feel free to join us and to listen in or in the comments section below. Just fire through any questions, um, and hopefully we can collaborate. So I would like to say a warm welcome to Sergio. How's your week been, Sergio?
Yeah, good morning or good evening to all the listeners out there. Now it's been quite hectic. Have a few challenges at work, as you know, with the COVID-19 that we current all of us are facing, which is challenging. Getting the players motivated, coming in for sessions and field sessions as well. So we currently on stage 4, which also allows us to train and to be able to have field sessions as well as working in the gym. So we're just trying to manage. We have 2 sessions a week, and then 4 gym
Mm.
sessions, and we do the basic screening as the players arrive, take the temperature and sanitize and fill in their forms. Just make sure all protocols are in order. If there's any hiccups or so we can record and just get information from the players where they stay if there's an incident.
And so if I may ask you, how's everyone really been coping? Coming in and having to deal with the different things that have been put in place. Obviously it's safety first, and you've got to keep your where you guys are. You've still got to keep your distance, and I believe you're still wearing masks. Is that the case,
Yeah,
or
no,
do the
in
players
public
train
places,
with masks on?
no, not really. We don't have to train with mask because it's quite difficult to train and
Mm.
then with your mask in your face, and you don't actually get a lot out of that. So because we're actually also allowed to play, but with no spectators. So if you're allowed to play, then we can train without the mask. So we just try to sanitize every time we have a water break, sanitize the hands and the balls, and even before the field session, we also do the screening just to make sure, because some guys might have their gym session in the morning and then they come in afternoon only for the field session, because we have different slots for the gym sessions, but the field session is there's only one slot. So you get guys who might only join us for the field session. So you have to screen them as well to see. But the players are really positive. We do lack in numbers now and then because of players not knowing what's in it for them in the future if there's any games. So players
Mm.
are more motivated when they know there's games, or they're going to
Mm.
be playing a game or training for a game in a month or in a few weeks time. So that's the only
Mm.
challenge. But the guys are pitching up, and we as the coaching staff just try to keep them positive and you know try to let them see the bigger picture, because we do have time now to prepare. And as things are looking now, we might play just 2 or 3 friendly games against each other just to get the guys some match fitness in, because
Mm.
it's no use, or just to keep the guys motivated, so they know they actually training for, even though it's a warm up game or a friendly game, just to keep
So
them
so
positive and motivated.
so they still end. I see what you're saying. So they still end up knowing that there's a purpose. It's not
Yeah,
like it's void. It's not like you just train and train and train and train, and it's like, okay, well, it's a stop start type of thing. Now, What I've been experiencing over where I am on the Isle of Man is completely different because we've it's been 40, 50 days that we've had, you know, no cases, and everything has been back to normal now for a couple of weeks. Um, in rugby terms, we are in phase C, or going to phase D, which means obviously I've just moved to phase D. In terms of contact sports, all that's gonna. I've been busy with preseason now for 5 weeks, or off season,
Okay.
preseason, 5 weeks with my players. Um, yeah, it's a strange one because I don't watch a lot of news, but I do try to catch up on what's going on out there, and it's weird because you'll see people walking around with masks on news and social distancing, and over
Yeah,
here
yeah,
is everything normal. It's like you forget, and that's why I keep reminding the players that I work with, don't take this for granted. We huddle, all right, grab a shirt, we have a chat, and then I see an image of people still with masks on, and spacing. And I keep reminding them, fellas, this is the type of things that you can't take for granted.
yeah,
So that in itself is a motivation, Even though there's on the island, they've been brainstorming a lot on what our fixtures would look like because now we can't play with the island. For since I think the club where I'm at, they've been playing with the island in the English league since 1987, every single
sure.
year, and suddenly, boom, it's just stopped. And obviously, last season we've had a really good season. We got promoted, and into a league that we can't go and play now. You know, but on the island there's also rugby. There's 6 different clubs. I thought I would touch base on that,
Yeah,
just to give a bit of a broader picture of what is actually going on the Isle of Man. Um, and just for anyone listening, uh, I'm at a club called Vagabonds Rugby Club, and we're one of 6 clubs on the island, and 3 clubs have been playing off the island. Vagabonds is one of them, and now we're not. And we used to play cup games in the Manx League, you know, with the teams on the island, but then we were also in the English League, which was brilliant. But that's come to a stop. So now you've got to find something else. You know, you've got to find a different motivation. You've got to find what makes them tick, like especially with the local games, and that in itself has been a challenge. You know, so training, I get a bit of a mixed group, and the numbers have been 20 to 25, sometimes 30, 32 maybe. I've had a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago, I had about 11, one day 11, which I always say if I have 10, we can do some work. But and suddenly the following week things picked up again. So I'm constantly I'm constantly trying to keep things fresh. But
So are
yeah, so
you?
we're just gonna quickly look at questions. So sorry, Serge, you were saying?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, are you currently in your pre-season? Or,
Yeah, we've had 5 weeks of off season and 5 weeks of we're going into what you would call preseason. This next cycle. So and then obviously rugby would be starting normally by September. And now that we actually have a bit of uh, you know a bit of clarity in terms of when we're going to start, it just helps with picking up momentum by the way you plan the sessions. I know we've been talking a lot on how can you get amateur players, especially now, get them to train without pushing them too hard, too early, um, to build up their endurance, you know. And obviously, when we talked about it a couple of weeks before I started with the off season, I've been doing aerobic, a lot of aerobic stuff, a lot of running on their own terms, not testing really, and which was brilliant. And now we've done a couple of tests. We've done Broncos. For some people that's not aware of Broncos, you run 20 meters back, 40 meters back, 60 meters back. You complete that 5 times, and you run it as fast as you can. And it's been really good. Very impressed so far. So yeah, we going into our we're going straight into our preseason now. So now we're gonna pick it up. But I just wanted to check a few questions. Just want to say to Ivan, hi to Ivan, Chill TV channel. Thanks for joining us. Just click on a readout. And Alicia, hi Alicia, hope you're all right. Alicia is our cousin all the way in the north of England.
Alicia.
Uh, she's I'm not gonna mention where about, but she's somewhere in the Lake District, which is absolutely amazing spot, place to be in. But yeah, just thanks for joining us. And yeah, so I was just to come back on off season, preseason. It's for me personally as a coach, it's been really been something to think about. As in before, it's all good if you just start planning sessions and it's pretty straightforward. But now, you've got to think of player welfare. You've got to think of people's, they've got families. What type of mental state the players are in. So I've got to definitely have to say one thing about timing. Timing. That's what I'm trying to develop at the moment. Is to start on time, as we all do, but to finish on time, not to go over, because a lot of people have players have families,
Mm.
and if you keep finishing later, that's going to affect his personal life. His family's going to suffer, and he's not going to be happy. He might even stay away from training because they keep finishing late. It's all those things that I'm really thinking about. But yeah, anything from you on that, Sergio?
Yeah, I notice on as you mentioned timing, and if you plan your session as a coach beforehand, because what the top coaches always do, they always plan, and that's why things look so easy when you're in a professional setup. But that the whole, how it works, it's just through planning, and even years beforehand or months beforehand. So for any local, coach, you need to plan your sessions. You need to plan what you're gonna do beforehand, even it's 3 months or 5 months beforehand. So then, if things didn't work out according to what you expected, then you can always fall back on it and see where you can, where you can do a few adjustments in it. Especially as I mentioned, timing or when you want the guys to do certain things throughout, that five weeks or so, because a lot of amateur clubs mostly only have 5 to 6 weeks of preseason. So you actually need to use that time and use it effectively. Planning ahead, as you mentioned, and making sure, because as players arrive on the training field, then they can see the cones are already packed out, and that for them is already an expectation for them as well to come earlier to their primers and then get on with the session. Because a lot of people always ask, what can they do better, or their team need to work on certain things, but it all comes to planning. That's how you can reflect and get better as a coach.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's setting the goals early and the standards. If you want high standards, like you said,
Yeah,
it's not always gonna go to plan, but if you know you've got a plan, then there's no reason to panic. We've just got a
yeah,
question here, Sergio. Alicia's asking, how do you manage a good work-life balance?
myself.
how do you manage myself and yourself if you just wanna
Oh,
share your one, because it's obviously it's hectic for people that's
yeah,
not there.
it's,
It's
well, I'm actually fortunate enough to work in the, as a strength and conditioning coach. So I'm quite flexible, saying that I don't have a normal working hour from say 7 till 5 o'clock. So I'm actually flexible in between. So I wake up with my kids. They actually see me, and I can drop them off at school, and I'll also pick them up. But my work only because we are not professional. So we actually train after work. So that's actually a bonus for
mm,
me. So then I, I have to work after. So I actually come home a bit later, but during the day I'm quite flexible, and that actually helps me a lot. Spending time with my family as well, and getting things done around the house, and just make sure everyone is happy. But when it comes to in season, it's quite a bit hectic because we travel a lot. But that's why I try to make up in this, the times we have, to make sure things are
mm.
in place. And as the kids get older, they get used to it. They also go to games and they see me on the field when we play our own games as well. So yeah, so that's one of the ways I manage.
Myself, I've to be honest, where when I came here the first, I don't think I've slept for 2 for 2 years. The first 2 years, yeah, it's been to be honest. My other half, Simone, she's been very resilient. You know, I'll be honest, she's been very very helpful, very supportive. The things that I had to deal with, and it's important to stay connected to what's more important. If you have a family first. Trust me, family first. Everything else, work
Yeah,
wise. Not saying you could, not do your job, but it's if your house, if your personal life, if you're not functioning properly, then how could you be world class in the other things that you want to do? Um, and it's rather strive to be the best you can be today, and then when tomorrow comes, that's a new day. Be the best you can be, whether it's just connecting with the children, or this is things that I'm reflecting on, but that I've always known is there, but it's been difficult to maintain that because I would come home from training and I'll have emails. I'll have 53. At one stage, I had almost 200 WhatsApp messages. And people sometimes they want answers now. It's like, well, what do you do? It's easy for other people to say, just switch your phone off and leave it when you get at home. But there's so many important things at times that really needs to be addressed. And I think sometimes also you've got to go through it. You have to go through like something like that so that you can find your path, so that you can find your way of what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Waking up early makes a mess of difference because I've got flexible hours as well. Because sometimes I might sit late, 2 o'clock in the morning working, and then waking up later.
yeah,
And I find I'm struggling then to drop a bit of weight if I want to get into shape. Even if I'm just waking up 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, I'm just making an example. But if I wake up earlier, I feel, the day feels longer. You can get more done
or
earlier. Then I can spend time with the children and the family throughout the day. But if I don't do that, then everything else, family wise, gets pushed to the side, and everything else that I'm all over the place here, there, is it comes first.
yeah.
But
I
then
don't.
you also end up not doing that properly.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
you're going to say?
just want to add to that. As I mentioned before, it comes to planning. I know at the beginning you have to settle in and make sure, okay, this is how your day is going to work or your week. But then after that, it all comes to planning. If you set out certain targets or goals you want to do, and when you want to do it and how you want to do it, then it gives you, not a smooth ride, but then at least your family know, where you're going to be at what time, and it just gives a guidance and a guideline for you to work towards. And if that doesn't work, you can always make changes.
mm,
With everything works if you plan ahead, and everyone put play their part in it.
mm. No, for certainly, what I also found was it's important for anyone, for any coach, young coach, if you've got a partner, if you've got children. It's easy to say this, but it's like I was trying to
Yeah,
say. Every day is new, so don't forget to keep doing it. You're developing new habits. There, spend time, connect with the children. Put the phone aside. Especially the partners, the wives. If you're a woman and you're coaching and you've got a husband, do the same thing. When it comes to, I'm just making an example. It's make sure you also, when you spend time with family, that it's organic. It's you and your family. There's no any other interruption. I've got to put this out there. Like obviously, with our wives, we couldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't with the perseverance and the help from. I'm sure
yeah,
Walter Sheridan wouldn't mind me saying this, that they have to deal with a lot, and I'm sure a lot of other coaches' wives. There's a lot of stories that they can also add to that. It takes a lot of perseverance, a lot of resilience, and a lot of love. It's you've got to you've you know to be successful. You, the coach, you've got to have a strong woman behind you and beside you and in front of you and left, right, and center, because we're all in this circle. You know, and it's important to have that, because who if you don't have that, what do you do? So yeah, we've got, looks like we've got a few more questions, Sergio. Um, we've been asked, how do you both, this is both of us, how do you manage players who aren't motivated or who maybe don't always like to come to training? How do you deal with that, Sergio?
yeah. How can I say, it all depends on the player himself. As you if you want to be a better rugby player, if we're talking about rugby specific, then there's certain
Mm,
things you need to do. You know, you need to work on. You need to be positive. You need to stay motivated. So my job is, as a S&C, I actually try to be an example. By also trying to stay active as well. So he can also see I'm just not telling the guys to run and to work hard. I'm also doing it myself, and that's
mm,
motivation by myself. I have a family. I also try to make time for myself, for my family. So that's motivation in itself, and
mm,
y- you need to have perhaps a one-on-one with the player, just to see where he wants to be, where he wants to go. Set certain goals, even small or long-term goals, but work on the small term and take it day by day. And just a few pointers to and make sure if he can tick the boxes. Trying to come early. If he wants to lose weight, what should he do? I think it all comes
mm,
to education as well, because players, they don't tend to know all about nutrition, or try to perhaps change their habits. Maybe it's just small things. I think that's basically it. It all depends on the player as well, because you only have him for an hour, and the rest of the day he's not with you. So he needs to
mm,
want to be there or want to improve. And if he wants to, at least that's something you can cleanse on, and try to motivate him more of that. And the good thing about a sports team in general is you have players around you, and support groups as well. So he can, if he doesn't feel that motivated, his teammates is also there to help him. So you get different voices, and not just the coach telling him, listen, run faster, or why are you late. So then you get leaders in the group as well, and and try to motivate one another. As we all know, you get different challenges throughout the week, or so I think as a team sport, you can use that as well. Then the message, you can use the team to get your message through those individuals that might need more motivation, or just to get that extra drive.
Because it is difficult, especially the challenge as coaches now in this day and age with what's going on. Uh, when you first, when everything got stopped, people were gutted. You keep hearing and seeing messages. Oh, I can't wait to get back. Can't wait to chase the egg.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
can't wait to train. And okay, when training starts, that those individuals just lose. Something just happens. They work more now, or just can't make training. Just they lose a lack of motivation,
yeah,
and end up not having their drive. So they've got to
yeah,
rediscover their purpose.
yeah. As you
Like you,
mentioned, with the guys beforehand, everyone is keen, everyone wants to train. But I think it's you should be honest with yourself, and where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself in 3 months? Or if it's you want to gain more muscle, or you want to just lose weight, or you just want to be a better rugby player in general. But then it also comes to the coaches, perhaps creating a team culture and environment for everyone to want to get better, make it fun, have a few icebreakers in the session, or mix it up a bit for them. That will keep them engaged and excite them to want to come to training as well. And it shouldn't be just like a punishment for them, when the session is quite tough. But you need those sessions as well. But I think the coach can drive that team culture, and when everyone engage, or if as a team you have certain goals where you want to be, then it's a collective. It's then they should take ownership of that, and of that decision they made. So then it's also easier for the coach, and then you can always point out, listen, but that's what you guys decided. If you have to be 10 minutes before a session, or you know, just an
yeah,
example like
and
that.
it I can't agree. Yeah, I have to agree with you there because I thrive with people that want to work hard, and it's kind of like I invest in them, and with the ones that don't want to really be there, and they are there but they don't want to work hard, I develop that patience through working with the ones that actually do want to be there. So when I do have to deal with someone who's very difficult to motivate, then I remind myself of the ones that actually make this work. So we've just got another question about philosophy as well, coaching philosophy. I think if you have a clear plan, and your approach is right for the environment, where everything is about flexibility and adaptability, and just growth. Oh no, shish kebab.
I think we're missing him out there. Um, yeah, just on philosophy, it all depends on where you are, and um, in what environment you are, because it tends to change throughout the years as well. As a coach, for me, it's always player center, and leading by example, and trying to get the most out of players in a work environment, in the gym especially, and try to transfer that on the field by creating sessions, doing some workouts that mimics um, on the field demands as well. And it's all about clear feedback to the players, and about why they're doing it. Players don't tend to know it all, and it's all about educating them, because why you have to be on time. What's the purpose behind this program you're doing, and what will the results be afterwards? I think that's basically the number one thing that that I tend to experience with players when it comes to philosophy as well. Can't seem to see the messages. Um, see quickly. Yeah, just for anyone listening out there, I can't actually see the messages now. We've lost Ryan. Maybe some technical difficulties. It's all about if you want to, if you have a certain goal, you need, to you need to reflect on yourself and to try and see where you can improve as a player or as a person in general, because um, you get a lot of challenges through life, and you just have to reflect on yourself and work on that as an individual, and take each day as it comes, and um, try and stay motivated why you want to do it. That's the main. It's always easy to start, but it's difficult, to keep that drive, to keep that motivation, and that's where family comes in. That's where friends comes in, because if you do the same thing every day, you know, you'll get the same results. So you need to change it a bit. If you really want something, you'll try and work towards it. For a youngster, if you want to go to gym early in the morning, don't let your mother or your father wake you up. You should wake them up. It starts with that small 1%. Just mindset of waking up a bit earlier, going to listening in school, um, do your homework early. It's all about changing that habit, and eventually it will stick. And that's what most successful people do. And you won't always succeed in the first time. You just have to keep on going, and eventually it will stick and it will become a good habit. And one thing, especially with players, you just have to stay positive and just keep on working towards to what you want. Can't see. Well, like as you mentioned before, I can't see any messages or questions. It's quite difficult for me. Just bear with me for a little while. See if I can get him back. Yeah. Well, I just want to say thanks for everyone who joined us for this small YouTube rugby chat. Um, I hope you got a few notes and points you can perhaps use. And if there's any questions, yeah, you can always ask. And just once again, thank you for everyone viewing, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.